This is City Council Bill 618. Yes, this is Bill 618, year 618. The purpose of changing the zoning for the property known as 1220 through 1222 West North Avenue, Block 3415, Lot 011, as outlined in red on the accompanying plat, from an OR1 zoning district to the C1 zoning district. All the public requirements have been met. This bill was introduced by Councilman Pinkett. Councilman Pinkett, you want to testify?
Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I first want to state that I can't speak for how others handle rezoning processes, but my process is that I don't even entertain a rezoning unless the property owner has first initiated a series of meetings with the community to really make certain that there is true community support. And that's making certain that all the information is out there and people know what the ramifications are as it relates to any particular zoning change. I think that's necessary. I think it's important. And so having said that, this was done for this property, just like any other matter I brought before land use. And so it received support from the Penn North Association as it relates to this a rezoning request. This one is different from the previous one that was on the agenda in that while it is technically non-conforming, it is not non-complying. This rezoning had nothing to do with an effort to close this alcohol outlet. It had more to do with, I guess, what the planning department deemed would be the appropriate zoning for this block. And so the planning department essentially, without the owner's consent and clearly now that the community is supporting without the community's consent, made a decision about this block that's inconsistent with where it is and where this block is going. This block was previously zoned B23 prior to transform, and planning also rezoned it to R01 with I think a residential mixed, row house mixed use overlay or something like that. And on a block that has limited potential to support residential row house development. Matter of fact, when you look at the particular side of this block where this particular property is, it's on the north side of North Avenue. 8 of the 6 properties have already been redeveloped for commercial non-office use, meaning that not only the first floor is commercial, but the second and even the third floor are associated with the commercial use on the ground floor. So that there's not even the potential for that redevelopment. In addition, when you look at the zoning map, I think it's kind of curious the different layers of zoning. So for example, this particular part of the 1200 block of North Avenue on the north side is, as I stated, is zoned OR1, RMU1. But on the south side, it's zoned C1. And then when you get to the next block, it totally inverts, and the north side is now C1, and the south side is OR1MU. There's no consistency in the zoning because the Planning Commission or Planning Department report said that one of their issues was the consistency of the zoning, that it's not consistent with the existing land use. There is no consistency. There's no logic in why one side of a block where there is more residential is zoned C1, and the other side where there's less residential and less potential for residential is zoned OR1. In addition, this rezoning or this zoning prohibits this particular liquor establishment from changing their liquor license to a license that is more sensitive to the needs of the community. Currently, they hold a BD7 license, which allows for the establishment to be open from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. The community is in tremendous support of it only being open from 10 a.m. to midnight. And this, the rezoning that planning went through before Transform, changing it from the B23, now prevents this property owner and business owner from changing a license to a more conducive use for the community. So thank you for the time, and I hope I can help support of the committee on this rezoning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. I appreciate your clarity on your process with the community being involved. And I'm looking at, just to give clarity, you're 100% correct. It's OR1, and going east and west is C1 and C2. Then farther south, if I'm saying it correctly, you have an OR1. So I understand your logic.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Clark.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to use all these hands and things. I have a question for the sponsor. Councilman, is there any agreement with the Penn North community that if this legislation is successful, that there will actually be that attempt to transfer the BD7 license to the, I think it's an A something license that I read, which is less impactful on the community. Is there any kind of agreement? There seemed to be a disagreement about that whole issue. I'm just trying to see whether the community is going to end up, because of this legislation, getting a toned down license in the facility voluntarily by the owner, but per agreement.
Councilwoman, you're absolutely correct. And the resolution has already been introduced before the council to change it from the BD7 to the A7. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Councilman. No other questions for the sponsor. We'll go on agency reports. Let's go with the planning staff.
Yes, this is Khalil Barmer with Planning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill was presented on October 8th. Planning staff's recommendation was to adopt the findings and to disapprove of a zoning change to C1. The Penn North Community Association was notified, and Planning Commission did vote in favor of this bill. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for planning? No? Okay, thank you. BMCA. BMCA? Last time, BMCA. Looking at the report, BMCA is unfavorable to the bill. Let's go with DOT. DOT? Liam? Davis?
Oh, sorry about that, Mr. Chair. DOT stands by its bill report, which is no objection.
Thank you. Law Department.
Good afternoon again. Rick Kerbelet from the Law Department.
Good afternoon.
We have the same issue that we had in the previous bill here. We've got a Planning Commission report that's basically saying it's a spot zoning. And it's not, there's no change or mistake that's been provided in the report that's provided by the Planning Commission, by the Planning Department. And that the rezoning is really for not in the public interest, but only for the applicant. So you're going to need findings that would change that that result.
Okay, so either the councilman or the applicant or the attorney representative is going to have to do verbally the finding of facts. Correct, Victor?
That would be correct.
I want to just keep it clean. Okay, thank you. Any other questions for the law department? No? Okay. HCD? HCD.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Stephanie Murdoch, Legislative Liaison for the Department of Housing and Community Development. We stand by our report in opposition to the bill.
Thank you. BDC. I don't see a response from BDC or report. We get a report, Matt? Matt, are you there? Matt?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
We don't have a report from BDC. Is there a reason? This is the second time from BDC. I'm not trying to be rude or ugly about it, but we don't have a report from them. Do you have anything?
I don't believe I've received that report yet. I will double check, and if I do not have it, I will make sure that we get it to the committee as soon as possible.
Okay, we deeply appreciate it. Thank you. Parking Authority.
Good morning, Fran. Bernzinski with the Baltimore City Parking Authority. We reviewed the legislation and have no opposition. I'm available for questions.
Okay, thank you. So, Matt, do you have any public testimony?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we have Frank Shawless on behalf of the applicant.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. Shawless, go ahead. We need a finding of facts first. Go ahead.
I would like to reiterate Councilman Pinkett's representations. First, you've got to consider the population change, the availability of public facilities, present future transportation patterns, and compatibility with existing and proposed development for the area. There is no proposed development for the area for which I'm aware. What we have here is the existing use of the property and the properties within the general area. The 1200 block of West North Avenue has one occupied residence. It had, all the rest of them are businesses, and it has a vacant residence. And that is it. And it's zoned OR. And the next block, the 1300 block, it has one business, and every other building on that block is a residence, and that is zone C1. On the south side, it is C1 and C2. On the east side, it is C1 and C2. So the zoning classification of the other areas is compatible with a C1 where we are. The property is not suitable for residential use. That is long past. And when the C1, C2 zoning district adjacent to the West North Avenue, on the even numbered north side of the street, there's a florist shop, a large funeral home, a food mart, vacant houses, a liquor store, a clothing store, two apparently uninhabitable vacant houses, and a mini mart carryout. So this is a C1 area totally. And I submit that there was a mistake made in the original zoning. And I submit on the memorandum that I presented. That would be all.
Mr. Shawless, you, Matt, did we get a finding of facts from Mr. Shawless? We received a letter, and I'm not an attorney, Frank, but you giving me an argument. I have to go back to Victor, Law Department. Victor, is he giving us a finding of for clarity and keep it clean, or he just giving us an argument?
No, I think, Mr. Chair, I think the assertion has been made that we've got a mistake in the zoning. He's supported that. So you've got facts to support that. We've got a whole raft of other things that are required, and those have been touched on. So it would be ideal if we had a written we had testimony that would basically hit all those little points that we have to hit. But we have, at least some of those points have been made in this oral argument. So you have I don't know if you have sufficient facts, but you certainly have a lot of facts before you.
Okay, so we can just vote on it. That's me talking. Yeah. Okay. All
Chair,
right, thank you. Councilwoman Clark?
Just let me say this, that, is it possible that we could adopt whatever that was as a finding of fact, but get this gentleman to put it into writing it according to the correct list of, so that we could adopt that on second reader as the revised finding of facts or the articulated findings of fact, so we have a shot here that the mayor will sign it?
Councilwoman, if you're addressing that to me, I would say that
No,
would be the ideal. I would say that's the ideal situation, that you have it before you in some written fashion, and then move forward with that.
So, wait a minute, so, question, you mean now, or could we adopt, or could we just wait for a second reader?
You could do it on the floor.
We can.
Thank you, that's up to the chair, but thank you.
Yeah, Councilwoman Clark, to regards to your question and what I'm listening from Victor, Mr. Shawless, can you send us, the committee, over a written finding of fact so we can vote on this? Or we'll have to wait till this?
I did, you have my letter.
Hello?
You have my letter?
Do I have what?
I sent a letter to the council.
Yes.
Did you send it to us?
Mr. Chair, this is Councilman Pinkett.
Yes. Yes, we have, before you speak, Councilman Pinkett, we do have a finding of facts, a written finding of facts on Mr. Shawless. Go ahead, Councilman Pinkett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to say that Mr. Shawless did send a written finding of facts, and his testimony was just a reiteration of those findings of fact. So it was what he testified verbally is memorialized in the letter that he sent.
Okay. Okay, Councilwoman Clark? Does that answer? Okay, good. Any other questions before we go on to public testimony?
yes, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead. This is Councilman Dorsey.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilman. You got the floor.
I think to me, it's really obvious that this is a C1 area, that the idea of this as office residential is ridiculous, and that there's neither an office nor a residence to be found, basically. And look, I look at North Avenue as a commercial corridor first and foremost, and the type for which C1 is clearly the most appropriate zoning type for the corridor, and say it basically would have to be willful to deny that. And so it seems to me really clear that this block, that a mistaken judgment was made in determining this block should be, and all the more so because this block face was established as OR. My question is to the law department, who cites the planning commission as having kind of looked at that this single property as being like a spot zoning case. Is it acceptable for the committee to find as a matter of fact that in fact the whole establishment of this block face as OR was a mistake, and that effectively we should correct that mistake here with this one property, but kind of with the understanding that probably that mistake should be corrected for the entire block? That to me seems like it would make up a sufficient finding of a mistake. Would that suffice for the law department?
Councilman, I think you have enough. I think you have enough support for a finding of a mistake in zoning. Whether or not you need to rezone the entire block, maybe that's a logical extension of where you of this. But since you don't need to do that for this particular bill, I'm just going to say you have enough support from what we're hearing now to say that there was a mistake in the original zoning.
I agree. I support Councilman Dorsey, and I think that if they want to change the zoning of the whole block because of timing, the next council person can look into that. It's a good point, Councilman Dorsey. I agree.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other public testimony? Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No more public testimony.
Okay, since there's no other testimony, I need a motion to move the finding of facts. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is that Pinkett?
Yes.
Second,
Okay.
Clark.
Second, moved by Pinkett, second by Clark. All those in favor of the finding of facts say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have the finding of facts passes. There are no amendments to this bill. So at this time, I need a motion to move the bill favorable.
So moved.
Moved by Pinkett. Moved by Pinkett. Second by Clark. Reisinger votes yes. Sneed. Councilwoman Sneed.
Yes.
Yes. Sneed says yes. Clark.
Yes.
Clark is a yes. Costello.
Yes.
Costello is a yes. Dorsey? Councilman Dorsey? You want to unmute?
Yes.
Okay, Dorsey's a yes. Middleton?
Yes.
Middleton's a yes. Pinkett?
Yes.
Pinkett's a yes. Stokes?
Yes.
Stokes a yes. We have 8 yes. Bill passes. City Council Bill 20-0618 passes and will come out November the 16th, which is this Monday.